In this tutorial, we are going to use a Terraform to create infrastructure that we needed. And then we're going to use Ansible to configure the infrastructure which is created by Terraform. So this will be hosted on a DigitalOcean, but you can use any other cloud provider, and you can configure it the same way as we are going to do it. So you will know how you can use Terraform and Ansible together to configure and create infrastructure. To keep this demo simple, we are going to only install a Terraform and Ansible. After that, we can install a few extensions like in Terraform, Ansible, and YAML. When the installation is over, we're going to create a virtual machine using Terraform, and then we're going to configure this virtual machine using Ansible. And after we are finished with the configuration, we're going to delete the resources back using Terraform also. Let's now open the terminal and check the resources. Minus version. If you get this result, so it means you have installed. And also the same is for Ansible. So when you have both a result like that, then it means so we are good to go. If you are not, then you have to go to the website of Ansible, and then here, based on your operating system, you can use the documentation to install which Ansible you want to use on which operating system. So I'm using Ubuntu, and here's only a few steps I need to do. So if you are using the same operating system, so that's the only thing you have to do to install Ansible. And for Terraform, you can also go on the developer.hashicorp.com, and then you can from install Terraform. There are a few steps only, and you can go through all of them based on which operating system you are using, so you can install it from here also. There are only a few steps and it will be done. So for this demo, I'm using DigitalOcean to create a resource here. So now we have nothing except of this domain, which is I will use it only for test. So you can also may have your own. You can use other cloud providers, but I have now this only. To make our demo clear, it will also work this. So our to-do, we go back to our to-do list. So we have both of them. After you have both of them, you can come back to Visual Studio Code and to extensions. And here you can search for YAML. And you can only hit the install and it will be installed. So I have already installed it, so you can also install it. This will help you to make the configuration file of Ansible very clear and make the indentation very proper, so there won't be any failure. And you also need Ansible extensions. They're there just to help you to code properly and make no failures. Oh, sorry. So this one you can also install. I didn't install it, but for this test demo, but you can install it if you're using that. And also we need Terraform, which this one I have installed, I think, yeah. So I already installed HashiCorp Terraform, so it has already more than 2 millions installed. So it's a very reliable extension, so you can use it. Here we go back to our to-do. So we have everything till here. If you're not, pause the video and go and finish everything. So now we're gonna create a virtual machine with Terraform. So we go to our Terraform folder, and then I created a main.tf file. So everything is in one file for this resource. Actually, you have to use for a better, if the project is bigger, then you have to create extra files for variables. You will have an extra file, variables.tf, and for the tokens and everything else like secrets, password, certificates, and paths or something, then you can use another file. And for the output, you can also use an extra file. So output is a kind of variables, and here you save the output of a specific resource, a specific information from that resource. For example, here I will only get the IP address, the public IP of the virtual machine, which is created later. So I will get the IP after the machine is there. And here the most important part is Terraform required providers. So you have to tell the Terraform which provider you're going to use it. Here's the important part. You have to tell Terraform which provider you're going to use. So now I'm using DigitalOcean, and I have to say which DigitalOcean and the version I have to specify. If you're watching this video later, maybe the version is different. So it's better to check the version, the latest version of is provided that you're going to use it on the website of Terraform. So for DigitalOcean, you need a token and a private key. So I have created already a private key here, and the public key, private and public key are stored here, so you can use it somewhere else, but I prefer to have everything in one folder. So my keys are stored here that I will use later. And then we have this Terraform SSH, so DigitalOcean SSH key I have created already with the name of Terraform. It's also on the website of DigitalOcean. But if you're using another cloud resource, so it means you're gonna go with a different way of authentication. And here is the most important part, the resource. So with the resource, you define what you want to create. So with the DigitalOcean, I'm gonna create Droplet. So it's a kind of virtual machine we can create with that. So this virtual machine will be with the name of, here's the name of the real machine which is created, but this name we are using just only in the configuration. So the server will name be like that, and also other extra information. So it depends on the resource, it will be different. Yeah, that's the configuration file of Terraform. So if you have a bigger project, so of course this file will be much longer, but it's only for the now we just create a virtual machine. The code is really easy. Before you start to deploy that, you have to go to that folder directory. So now I'm there exactly here, and then we have to say Terraform init. So what it does, so it installs the DigitalOcean's provider locally for us. Here we can see that. So initialization was successful. So now we have that locally. If you go to the folder, and then there is a folder Terraform, and there is also a log. This is here will be stored which version you just used. So this file, it means if you're gonna send this folder to somebody else, Terraform, and they want to apply the same configuration and resources, then this file will ensure that they have to use also the same version of provider. We can go after we have initialized, then we have to say Terraform plan, and then we have to go with minus var. We can just identify which variable we have to go use. I already said here we have two variables. So DigitalOcean token I have here stored it on the local variables like that in the bash. If you know bash, then you know how it works. A variable to create, you can use export and then name of a variable and then the value. So I have created two variables, which is you can also for token and also for private key, but you can also, instead of that, you can give directly the value of the path. So the plan is, it means we just wanted to see how it looks, the deployment. If we hit enter, and then we will see here a list of resource and stuff that will be created. So this means with the plus it will be created, it will be added to the during the deployment. So we have everything here, what you see, like the memory, how it will be used, IPI version 4, ID, the image it will be using. So all the stuff that is listed will be created. But the main part is we have to apply Terraform. So Terraform applies the most important part. Actually with that, we are applying our resources. Sudo Terraform apply. So That's the very important step during the deployment. If we hit enter, and now it will again do the same as Terraform plan, but it will ask us for the confirmation if you really want to deploy the resources, and then we have to type here yes. So this will take a few minutes until it creates our virtual machine on DigitalOcean. So till it create our resources, we can go to our Ansible configuration file, and I can explain a few stuff there. Or you can pause the video also and wait till your resource is there. Now, so I'm gonna close this here. So we go to the Ansible folder, and now I'm gonna show you how Ansible looks, the Ansible configuration file. Here in the terminal, we can see now that the resource is already created. So the Terraform is finished. And we also got the public IP that we need later on, but now we can see on the website. Let's go to the website now. Yeah, we have our web server here, and this, yeah, and everything, the IP we have here, we can also copy it from here, it doesn't matter, but we can also take it from here. It's the same IP. So this IP we need it for Ansible. We go to so Ansible has many stuffs. You don't have to know now everything about Ansible or Terraform. I'm just showing you how the concept works together if you're using Terraform and Ansible. But you can dive deeper if you want to know both of them. So now Terraform use inventory file. So in inventory file, you have to give your domains or domain of the domain controller, so the domain name of a machine, or you can also use the IPs. It could be public or private. So to talk with that server, so I need this IP, which I got it from here. So I will tell to Ansible contact these machines. So it will be my node machine. So this machine which I'm now working on it is a controller, and now this virtual machine I created, it will be kind of a server for me as a node. So this is the IP from that machine. So I'm gonna save this and now go back to playbook. So in this this is the main file that will configure our server. And here's another, so I will explain this nginx.config.g2 later. So here all which we need is here it starts, it's a YAML file. YAML file always starts with the 3 dashes, and then we use the indentation. So indentation is very important in Terraform. So it means you have to set how many indentation you have, but it always must be the same. It could be double space or it could be a tab. And that there's also a good documentation about YAML language. I will put the link also on the description of the video, so you can go there and learn about the YAML very briefly. So I'm not gonna go deep in a YAML file. This file host means that any server we are going to configure. So here I have only one server, but you can have many. You can just put them the IP address here or the domain name of them, so you can configure them and contact them. But I have only one machine, so I will gonna remove the others, and I'm gonna save my file back, and we go back to our playbook here. With become yes, it means that if you are using a normal user, that will change to sudo. So we will say that we are going to use sudo. So it means that will change to sudo. We can create also variables. So the variables I'm gonna use later, just for the practice. And this means that my server name will be blog content online, and where my application is storing right now here, and where it's gonna copy the files on the virtual machine or on my web server. And the main part of this file is gonna start with tasks, and we have C as one indentation forward. So it means everything under the task are one task each. So this is one task, and there's another one, and there another one. There is no limit how many tasks you can put together. You can just write it down under each other. So each task has a specific purpose here. So the first one is to install the Nginx. We use apt because we use Ubuntu. So we install Nginx on that, and then we take the files from my app, and we're gonna copy them to root. So it means to /var/ww. After that, we apply the Nginx template, which I showed up here. We have nginx.config.g2. So G2 is another language like YAML. We are using that to create templates for Ansible, and these templates will be deployed on the server. So you have to know a bit about Ginger 2 also. I will also put a link for description about Ginger 2 on the video and the description part, so you can go and read about Ginger and how you can use it with Ansible. So now we have now here we came, and then we have enable new site. So it's the same like Apache. If you have used this available site and enable site, so it's the same task will be done with that. And then we have to allow the port ET. So we want to let them server listen on port ET, and handlers are a specific, not every time you're gonna use it. So they will be used only when there is new updates on the machine. So it will restart on that server, that service or something. Doesn't matter if it is one service or many. So if they change, then handlers will go and restart that service for us. So this is the whole configuration file to configure Nginx on web server, and also copy our app or our website to that web server too. So now we go to our terminal. So since it's working, we have tested everything. Here I'm gonna type Ansible minus playbook on our playbook, and then we have to say which inventory file, and then we have to say the user, root, and then we're gonna hit enter. So it asks for the first time because connecting to the server, so the server, and then we have to say yes. Oh, it has a problem. So it means we didn't give we have a public key, but we didn't specify which private key you have to give. So now we have to specify our private key, minus key, minus file. So my key is here, my private key. So I'm gonna give this address to that, and then we'll see /key/prv key. Hit enter again, and now it works. So first it will gather the information, the facts from that server. The facts are that what is the machine, all information it will get, the host names, the IPs, and everything else. So now is the second task. So update apt cache and install Nginx. This will take a few minutes. So it depends how big is the deployment. So it depends also the files that you're copying from your local server to the web server. And if it's less, so it'll be, for the first time it takes a bit more time, but on the second, third time, if you're using or changing a little bit the stuffs, then it'll be much faster. So now we're gonna copy the files. So it is done. And now we're gonna apply Nginx template. We are on this step. So as I said before, that Ansible is imperative. It means that we go through each steps. We have to declare everything, like first do that, second do that, and third do that. So it means we have to specify all the steps. So now we here see that OK is 7 and changed 5 stuff. They change it, and there is no failed and no skipped. So it means everything goes well. So let's check if everything is working. So now I can do SSH to the server and check if it works. Everything is on the place or not. And then the IP, I will take the IP from here. And the key I have to give it. So I'm now on the server, on my web server, and then I'll check local host 8 port 80. So see, I don't have a website, so I mean I don't have a website, but I cannot reach this website through a domain because my domain is not configured with that. So this server is running now, and I'm on that server, and now here we can see that this machine is working, and this website is running on top of that. So Nginx is running, and we can also check if it's really like that or not. Then we see here on the port 80 is listening Nginx here. So our web server is fully functional, and we can use that server. So that was everything in our list. So we go here, we have created our virtual machine, and then we install Nginx server on top of that. Now we have the last step that we have to destroy, so we don't need any more data sources. The test was successful, let's say it like that. So now we're gonna destroy the resources, and that we can do so easily. Terraform is really good on that. So we say sudo terraform destroy, and we can use only the same authentication stuffs, and then we're gonna hit enter. It will ask us now if we really want to delete. So everything you see here with the minus, it will be destroyed. So now we say yes. Wait a few seconds and it will be done. If we go to our website, the machine is still, oh, see, web server was removed. It means everything done successfully. So it means the deployment and destroying everything worked. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to write it on the comments.